So, for people who've come in today, this is a little different than our usual Sunday because this is actually the fourth day of a 3-day retreat that began Thursday night. So it really was 3 nights, but it started Thursday and ends at noon today. And while our community offers many different types of retreats of different lengths, from beginners on to more advanced people, and you can learn about that on our website. This retreat was on a body of teachings that are called the Mind Trainings. And I'll do a little review of what we did, which will be a review for the people who've been on retreat, so you can kind of remember what we've been up to, as well as to bring the people who are new a little sense of what it's about. So Lojong, which is the Tibetan name, is a body of teachings to train, or better yet, to retrain the mind to see life the way an enlightened person sees life. Right? So it's really very helpful for those of us who are unenlightened, who think in a very unenlightened way, which means we think about life in ways that fundamentally create a misperception of what's going on, which therefore leads to suffering. Okay. So it's this wonderful body of training that came to Tibet from India. And actually a teacher who brought it to Tibet from India actually had to go to Indonesia because that lineage had died out in India, but was preserved and much loved in the Tibetan tradition. And there are many texts and books and commentaries on it, and that's what we share. There are like 58 or 59 or 57 of these slogans, these pithy one-sentence slogans that really embody so much wisdom and practice. And I think for this I've worked on 6, and hopefully we'll cover 2 more today. Over the course of a 3-day retreat, doing 2 a day does not do justice to them. Traditionally, one takes a slogan and one works it. Works it for weeks, works it for months, works it for a long time, until it fully is incorporated in the way we see things. All right, so these are called mind trainings. And again, if there are people here who've learned a little bit about mindfulness, or learned a lot about mindfulness, who've meditated a lot, and sort of do well when they're on the meditation cushion, but when they enter life, enter relationship, enter the world, find that they lose it. They lose their calmness. They lose their serenity. They lose their open-heartedness. They lose their compassion, right? Things that are much easier, when you're not in it, right? These slogans are the means. So they're very practical, and they're meant to be taken into life because we need to change the way we view things, the way we think about things. Right? Isn't that clear? In other words, it's called misperception. And it's hard for many of us to acknowledge, I'm misperceiving this world. I'm misperceiving what's going on here. All right? So, with that little bit of introduction, we began with first training the preliminaries. I'll just very pithily say how important this is. As Americans, we jump right into meditation, we jump right into mindfulness, we jump right into the deeper teachings, But traditionally, you begin with the preliminaries. And because the preliminaries are the foundation of a spiritual life. And by skipping over the preliminaries, again, as I said in retreat, It's like building a house without a foundation. Or it's like building a house on a very weak foundation. You know, you're going to try to build or erect this beautiful, healthy, transformative life for yourself, but there's always going to be cracks, right? And you're going to wonder, is it my fault? No, it's not your fault. It's that we haven't spent enough time doing these fundamental preliminaries. And what these are profound meditations on things that intellectually could be obvious to us, such as everything's impermanent. Everything is changing constantly. Everything. Internal, external, the material world, the mental world, things are just in flux or in process. Nothing is stable. Impermanence. Sort of it manifests in a very real way with us in sickness, old age, and death, our temporary unfolding in this life, right? Happens to everyone, as well as just life is always changing. Ups and downs, backs and forth, gain and loss, pleasure and pain. And not understanding that that is the nature of life, we are endlessly trying to do what? Control and manipulate, because we want what? Permanence. We want permanence. We want the things we want, that we like, to stay the same. And we're very happy for the things we don't want to be impermanent, you see? So we kind of bargain. But to understand that everything is in flux and everything is changing. Now, the next reflection is on cause and effect. That the unfolding of this life is not random, it's not ordained, it is just simply the result of endless variable causes and conditions. Why is this happening? Because of that. Why is he or she the way they are? Because of their causes and conditions. Why is the world the way it is? Because of causes and conditions. Why am I the way I am? Because of causes and conditions. It gives us a sense that in the present, wherever you look, personal, interpersonal, economic, social, everything is the product of causes. Is that clear? And all these causes are unfolding within a world of impermanence, which is very wonderful, because it means what? We can change. The world can change, individuals can change, relationships can change. Once you understand the causes and the conditions that are creating and maintaining whatever, you understand if I change in the present the causes I am making in my life, if the world as a whole changes the causes, right, it will create different effects. It's really sort of that simple. So, understanding that is very important. The third is, and I know this is hard for many of us, is dukkha, which means dissatisfaction, unsatisfactoriness. It basically means, especially for us worldly people, we live in the world, we live with all the things of the world and relationships of the world and the acquisitions of the world and the things of the world, that we will never, no matter how hard we try, no matter how hard we work it, we will never find true happiness of a consistent way in worldly activities and things. Why? Why is that? Because they're all transient. They're all impermanent. They don't last. If you don't get that, you endlessly have to what? Work. Keep at it, keep at it, keep at it, keep at it, right? And yet, happiness, peace of mind, well-being are what? They're inner states, right? So why don't we look in and cultivate the basis for well-being and happiness and joy and open-heartedness within our mind, rather than endlessly looking for it outside ourselves. Is that clear? It doesn't mean we don't carry on our life and do our best and all that, but we understand if I'm looking for permanent happiness, for peace of mind and all that, I have to go in here. When I point to this, I'm pointing to all of us. Okay, so that's the third. And the fourth is, and again, for people on retreat, it's good to hear it again. It's good for me to hear it again. The fourth is this precious life. This precious life means for all of us here, we are very fortunate, like for all of us here, and I don't know most of you, I know that all of us here, for some reason in our life, things have come together that not only, I have a human life, and I have a somewhat healthy body, and I have mental capacity to think and analyze and look at things more deeply. How wonderful, right? And, everybody here, there are many people in this world that, are just so burdened by just survival, feeding themselves, feeding their families. You know what I'm saying? Or there are many people who live in places where there's great violence and instability, where there's famine, where there's, all kinds of things. We are very fortunate, aren't we, that we can gather here in peace, that we have this opportunity. So that's all these aspects of our life, and there are others. And then, and again, I'm not pushing anything, but I'm just saying, and yet we are having the opportunity to encounter a spiritual path, to learn a way to have real happiness and meaning and purpose in life, to learn how to calm our minds. How fortunate I am. Most people don't have this. Or even if they have it, they don't take advantage of it, do they? They're too busy with what? With all the things that occupy them, that they think are so important. So this coming together of opportunities and freedoms, that's considered this special, precious life. It's not just only being a human being, but having these capacities and these freedoms that I can really walk, a more meaningful path of healing and transformation in my life. So to contemplate that and to really realize, but guess what? Impermanence. I don't know if I'm going to have this opportunity and freedom 6 months from now or a week from now, do I? No. I don't know how life is going to unfold for myself individually, for our country, culture. But all I know is right now, there's a precious opportunity for me. So doing these foundational practices, as you can see, sort of allows one to get one's values and perspectives in line if one wants to undertake some sort of transformative movement in life. Now that's up to each of us, right? Whether that's something we're interested in. Is that clear? But as I said, oftentimes people who engage in a meditative life or quote-unquote spiritual life, and they wonder why they're, like it's on, it's off, I'm in, I'm out, I stop, I start again, I stop. It's because we haven't done the foundational work, that we really get it, what's going on in this world. Is that clear? Yeah. So these are the first thing we spent some time on. Then so a lot of these slogans are very deep and profound. Some of them are very simple. Don't be swayed by external experience. It's behind the external experiences. And that really points to, knowing yourself, knowing your path in life, knowing what's important to you, knowing what has value to you, whatever it is, and don't be swayed by external circumstances, which could be external circumstances, could be people, what they think, what they do. It's like an inner strength and an inner knowing when you kind of have a sense of what's important to you and where you want to go in life and what your values are, that you walk that path and you're not swayed whether people approve or don't approve. Or, there's so many things that can sway us in the external world. So many pleasures, so many meaningless kind of things we can get involved in, or meaningful kind of things, that they sway us from really, what is my purpose in life? And if you're here going, I don't really know what my purpose in life is, right? Which is okay. But if I don't know my purpose in life, then I'm easily what? Swayed. I follow this thing. Oh, this sounds good. I'll try this one. Oh, gee, that sounds even better. I'll go try that one. That's not really what I thought. Oh, that one looks pretty good over there. Swayed, right? If you don't know your path. Is that clear? So for many of us, it means first, really doing some introspection about, what's really meaningful to me. And there are people in this room right now who are young, and there are people in this room who are old. So I only say that because, decades of experience. And if you're 80 years old and you have 8 decades of experience, you've kind of learned a lot. And it might be easier for you to go, I've learned what's valuable and not valuable. Younger people, might not have that much experience. But my sense is, even if you're younger, you're only here today because there's something pulling you in this direction. And, learning to be in touch with that, learning to trust that, so we're not endlessly swayed by external experiences. Is that clear? So that was the second one, very quick. The third was, it's behind the palm. Can somebody read that to me?
Whichever of the two occurs.
Oh, whichever the two occurs. Again, this is great. What are the two? Things are working out, things aren't working out. Anybody know that one? That's life, isn't it? Yeah, sometimes things work out, sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes they applaud us, sometimes they throw tomatoes at us. Right? Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail. Sometimes things work, sometimes things don't work. Is that true? Right? Whether you're young or old, we all know that? Yeah. That's just life. And the problem is, we're not equanimous. We get thrown. When things are working, we get all ecstatic and happy and then it switches. And then we get all down and frustrated and angry and disappointed. And then things begin to work again and we, right? And some people, that's their daily life. Be equanimous. When things are good, good. When things are bad, well, that's okay. Right? It's not the end of the world, is it? But if we're not careful, we act as if it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. When we get to the end of the world, we'll know it, okay? It's big. Most of the crises in our life are not the end of the world, and yet this mind of ours creates this drama of the end of the world. So, it's sort of like, the extremes, up, down, sort of bifurcated kind of mind state. Yeah, so we know that things are going to change. And we know that sometimes they work and sometimes they don't work. I understand that. That's okay. Right? Isn't it okay? Yeah. We just deal with life. We just deal with life as it is. But if we have an equanimous mind, it's much easier to deal with it than if we have an emotional, reactive mind. Right? So again, there's a lot here, but that's what that one's about. So you getting a sense of these slogans? Yeah, they're really wonderful. And then we went to big time. When your world or the world is filled with suffering, turn adversity into the path of awakening. So this is very kind of gets to the heart of these mind trainings. Because none of us have problems with things going well. Anybody have a problem when things are going well? You see? We laugh because, I don't have a problem with that side of life. My problem is when things aren't going well or adversity. Anybody have any problems being around people you like and love you and you enjoy being with? Is that problematic? No. How are you when you're around people who annoy you, or people you don't like, or people who irritate you, people don't agree with you? Oh, that's a challenge. You see? Right. When things are going well, no problem. When the world is going the way I want, no problem. When my political party wins, happy. Right? But what happens when your political party loses? So, understanding that adversity, things not being the way we want, people not being the way we want, is part of life. Let me just do a scientific sample. Okay, this is a fairly diverse kind of group here, right? Different ages, backgrounds. Has anybody ever experienced adversity in their life? Has anybody known anybody who's experienced adversity in their life? Has anybody known anybody who's never experienced any adversity in their life? What does that tell you? So learning. And so again, the Lojong, the mind trainings, are really for people on a spiritual path, who want to heal and transform and awaken. So it says, adversity is the path. This is how we develop. This is how we grow. We have to learn to, whatever comes our way, to make it part of our spiritual life, not to go, I only want the incense. I only want the flowers. I only want the spiritual music playing in the background. You know what I mean? That's what I want. Don't give me too much reality. Don't give me any suffering. Right? You see? But suffering and impermanence is part of life, isn't it? Is there anybody here who's never suffered? Do we know anybody who's never suffered? And there's all kinds of suffering. There's big sufferings like people are experiencing in the world right now. And then there's just the sufferings of the ups and downs, the gains and losses of life, So when we embrace everything, when we embrace all experiences as our spiritual path, there's a lot of freedom in that. Take adversity as a path of awakening. Next one, really good. Drive all blame into one. We spent a lot of time on that yesterday. This is so pervasive in our culture. We love to what? Blame. We love to whine and complain. Don't we? We love it. And we love to share all our whining and complaints and blame with everybody else. Right? Blaming means what? They're responsible for what I'm feeling. Blaming is turning oneself into a victim. They're responsible for what I'm feeling. So, drive all blame into one. So this is great. So rather than having to blame, 100 different people, 100 different situations, my parents, the world, this one, that one, my job, my boss, right? Just gather all your blaming into one thing to blame, okay? So we're trying to simplify. So what do you think this one thing, if I want to blame something for my suffering, what do you think it is? Me. Me. Whatever I'm experiencing is because of the way I am perceiving what's going on. I don't think it should be happening the way it is. Is that true? I don't think it should be happening the way it is. I don't think I should have had the childhood I did. Right? I don't think those things should have happened to me. I. People shouldn't talk to me that way. But the truth is what? They do. They did. And it's the I, the self, that stands outside of the reality of life and says, no, resist, shouldn't be. And it's because of our self that we get angry, we get despairing, we get sad, we get worried, we get scared. When you're in any kind of emotional state and you want to go, what's the cause of it? It's me. That's very empowering. It doesn't mean that people don't do bad things. It doesn't mean there aren't bad people in the world, even though there's another way of looking at that. But it's my response to people and life, past, present, and future, that is creating the way I feel. Nobody can get inside me. Is that true? Nobody can get inside you unless you let them. And how do we let them? We ruminate, we obsess, we go over and over, and we create feeling states in our mind. Is that clear? So this drive all blames into one is, again, very empowering. I can't control external circumstances. I can't control people. Is that true? We've all learned the hard way. Is that true? That's true. We can't. We wish we could. It'd be great if I could mold the world and everyone in it to be the way I want them to be. Wouldn't that be great? It'd be great for who? For me. It may not be great for you. Because you might not want to mold yourself to Fred's vision of how you should be. You get it? And if you have 8 billion people running around this world trying to manipulate and control everything to become, the way they want it, you can see why people create such suffering for themselves and for others. Is this clear? So these are very profound. Drive all blames into one. And it's and the one is not me. You see, it's not like you're, oh, wow, I'm really a bad person. It doesn't mean that. It means that self-identity, that self-centeredness. That's the problem. I mean, we're all basically good people, aren't we? Yeah. It's not personal. It's that self-centeredness, that egocentricity that gets us into suffering. And then last night we got into be grateful to everyone, always maintain a grateful mind. Wonderful, right? Be grateful to everyone. Again, is it easy to be grateful to people who do nice things to you? Anybody have a problem with being grateful to people who do good things for you? No. Who do we have a problem with? What? People who don't, situations that don't. When we're in a place of ingratitude, in a place of deficiency, in a place of blame, how do we feel? You feel good? No. It's an aversive mind state. It's a suffering mind state. Always to come from a place of deficiency, always, how come they didn't do this for me, or how come they're not doing that for me, or how come it's not turning out that way. So, to be grateful to everything just opens it all up. Now, the challenge could be, well, how can I be grateful to, this complete jerk over here? Well, how are you going to learn patience? How are you going to learn tolerance? They're your teacher. The Buddha has sent them to you to teach you patience. So, if you think about having any kind of spiritual life, we can only develop ourselves in relationship to people. Right? I mean, I can be the most compassionate person if I stay in my room and think compassionate thoughts, right? But get me out in the world, it's like, right? We need people. How are we going to learn anything? We want to learn how to love. We want to learn how to be caring. We want to learn how to be kind to other people. We want to learn to be patient. Where are we going to learn that? Only with people. And again, not the easy ones. It's the hard ones, the ones that are hard to love. We say everything arises because of causes and conditions, but we don't want to see that jerk as the product of their causes and conditions, and they can't help being the way they are or saying what they are. We don't want to do that, do we? But that person is there to deepen our capacity to understand human beings and what their causes and conditions that have created them, and how in this moment they can't help being who they are. And on top of that, people who do all kinds of unkind things, they often do it because they're suffering. Or they have suffered in the past, and that has conditioned them. And in the face of suffering, we should be compassionate, right? So, be grateful to everyone, always maintain a grateful mind. It's path to happiness and well-being. So that's it. So that's what we've been up to for the last 3 days. Now, what I want to focus on today for the people who are on retreat and those who've come in are those two over there. And let me work with the first one. Work with the greatest defilements first. This is very important, okay? So we and everybody's here at a different place, but we begin to gather some tools, right? In our spiritual unfolding. We start gathering tools because we want to what? We want to be happy. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to have afflictive mind states. We don't want to be angry all the time, or resentful all the time, or hurtful all the time, or worried all the time, or sad all the time, or jealous and envious all the time. Do we? Is there anybody here who says, anybody want to stick up for afflictive mind states? See, we laugh, don't we? Because it sounds so ridiculous. And yet, we spend a lot of time cultivating those kinds of mind states. Okay? So, we learn some tools. We learn how to be mindful. We learn how to be present. We learn, these kind of slogans, and there are like 50 plus more. And we look at ourselves and we go, I do have a lot of anger. Yeah, I do worry a lot. Yeah, I do hold on to resentments and things from the past. Yeah, I do ruminate. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, I am pretty jealous. I'm very judgmental. Should I go on with the list? You see? And we can't change them all right away, can we? So this is very important. Our transformative life has to be targeted. Okay? And what this slogan says is, work with the greatest defilements first. Now, what does that mean? That means you look at your life and you ask yourself, where do my emotional afflictions or my negative habit energies, a way of being in the world, cause the most distress to myself or to others? So just close your eyes. Let's just play with this. So just ask yourself. Right? We're all imperfect, we're all works in progress, but which of my quote-unquote defilements, things that defile the purity of my mind and heart, what caused me the most suffering, or what do I bring into the world that seems to be most disruptive to others? And see what comes up. And again, we're just looking at the way we function in the world, the way we function in relationships, the way we are within ourselves. What really causes me the most distress, or causes the most distress to others that I'm in relationship with? Could be my self-centeredness, always thinking about me. I'm just giving this as some examples to go, this is really most disruptive. So has everybody got a little taste of that? Right? Something's come to mind? Okay. Now, some of our defilements are deep-seated childhood stuff, you know what I'm saying? Old stuff, deep-seated. Some aren't. Some are just bad habits, bad ways of being in the world because we never learned another way, or. So some things are more easily dealt with than others. But again, we're starting not at the deep level. We're starting at how things manifest in my life right now. Is that clear? Okay. So that's what it means. Now, another warning. Okay? Well, we have on retreat with us a former bodybuilder, and we used him for some good advice. If you want to develop a lot of physical strength, don't begin with 500 pounds. Okay, what's going to happen? What? You're going to get hurt yourself, and you won't be able to do it. So, work with things that you can handle. So the other piece of this is, do I have enough mindful awareness? Do I have enough steadfastness of mind that I can be present to these afflictive mind states and hold them and work with them and remediate them? You see? Sometimes we choose one that at this point we don't have the strength to work with. So we start working with it, and what happens? Anybody try it? What happens? What?
You quit.
We quit, but we quit because it takes us over. You see, we don't have the strength yet. It's like if you're trying to build up some strength and you choose to start with some weight or some exercise that you can't do yet, you may quit. But the problem is what? You just didn't start where you were at. Right? So that's what I meant when you start with the biggest disruptor, but don't go to the depths of it yet. You can just work on, I got to start keeping my mouth shut. How about that one? See, that's physical. Yeah. I just got to not say it. Can everybody do that? See, this is physical. It's like the mind gives an order to the mouth, stay closed. Don't say it. You know what's going to happen. You see? That's a good way to begin. Or say something nice. Even if you don't believe it. You can say it, right? Yeah, make things better. I mean, is that clear? So this is very important, for people who want to change, who want to transform, who want to heal, that we be targeted, but we be realistic. And we need to build up our strength of mind over time, that we can really deal with the big stuff without being overwhelmed, without being taken over. Is that clear? Good. Now, for people on retreat, I didn't tell you one thing. But now I'm going to tell you. So in the Lojong mind trainings, most of the trainings deal with what's called the relative awakened mind, which are kind of the things I was just talking to you about, kind of how we interact with the world, how we interact with this world. But then there are, I think, 6 that deal with what's called absolute, the enlightened mind from the point of view of the enlightened mind. Okay? And the first one of those is regard all experiences as dreamlike. Okay? Now we think everything is what? Solid and real, don't we? Yeah. Everything is solid and real. And because we see everything and everybody and every situation and our thoughts and our feelings and perceptions, everything is solid and real, we're constantly lost in it, in them. So it's very important to understand that this says regard all experiences as dreamlike, because many people on the spiritual path get confused because they hear, oh, it's just a dream. It's not real. And that could very much lead to what? Nihilism. Oh, it doesn't matter, right? It's just a dream. It doesn't matter what I do, what I say. You can become, it's very distorted. So the phrase is not that life is a dream, or all experience is dream-like. Now, this is very important. Anybody ever dream? Okay. We all dream, right? Now, remember when you're dreaming, what do you think's going on? Does everything appear very real to you? Think about it. Yeah? Do you see people? Yeah? Can you touch them? Yeah? Can you have feelings in your dream and response to the situations? Yeah. Are people dressed? Do all kinds of people show up in your dream? All kinds of people, right? Doesn't matter, alive, dead, real, right? When we're in the dream, we think it's what? Real. Is that true? I mean, it has a reality. I mean, you can think you can think you just got killed in a dream. You can think you crash in a dream. People have all kinds of dreams. People have wonderful dreams. They're flying, and they just everybody loves them, and everything's I mean, we have all kinds of dreams. Some make us happy, some make us miserable, some are scary. All kinds of dreams. Is that true? And they have a reality to them when you're in the dream. Is that true? Now, what happens when you wake up? You ever had the experience? Especially when you wake up, just sort of like when you've been in a dream, or a dream just ended. What's often your experience? Confused. Why are you confused? I thought that was real. Right? I thought it was real. You might even go, see, if it was a bad dream, you're happy you woke up. But if it really was a great dream, everything's going your way and everybody loves you and you're happy as can be, you can be a little what? And you ever have the feeling like, how can I get back in there? So that was really, you wake up and you go, I'm in my bed. How do I get back in there? People know what I'm talking about? But you can't get back in there, can you? Why can't you get back in there? It wasn't real. But it appeared real. But it wasn't real. It was just a coming together temporarily of causes and conditions in my mind. It seemed so real. So let me try this one, okay? Do you remember the past? Does everybody have a past? Think about your past. Think about your childhood. Think about your first grade teacher. Think about your best friend in high school. Think about some success. Think about some failure, right? Some good times, some bad times. Some love gained, some love lost. Right? Can you generate those kinds of memories? Are those memories real? I mean, let's say you kind of close your eyes and you really go back and you relive it. Is it really happening? No. We're just living it in our mind. The same way when we dream. We're just dreaming in our minds. And yet it seems so real. Right? The way we perceive things, which is really how we think about things. Are they real? Like, think about your past. Did it seem very real at the time? But sitting here in this moment, what happened to it? Where is my past? Where are all the people who I used to be with? My relatives, my friends, my family, every experience I ever had. Anybody know where they all are? Gone. Why are they gone? Why are they gone? What? They were never real in the sense that they were not solid, permanent. They were just experiences, just like a dream. Just like this. This right now, does this seem real? Yeah. Right? Yeah. I'm up here, we're talking, you seem real to me, I seem real. In the small picture. But in reality, come back here in 40 minutes, there's nobody here. This whole morning, gone. Like last night's dream. like last week's experience, like all my successes and failures, like my happy, blissful childhood or my miserable, unhappy childhood, all gone. Like last night's dream. Seemed very real at the time, didn't it? And yet now, a lot of people, if you're ever with people who are dying, they'll often say, "Gee, I look back at my life, it seems like a dream." It seems like a dream. Regard all experiences dreamlike. Now, this doesn't mean you go, all right, well, that's it. It's all a dream. It doesn't matter what I do or say. It's all a dream. None of it matters. It's all going to disappear. Screw it. I'll do whatever I want to do. I'll say whatever I want to say. Screw it. It's all a dream. Well, you've gone too far. If I said to you, if you had a choice when you fell asleep at night, would you like to have good dreams or nightmares? Your choice. How many people vote for nightmares? Nobody wants a nightmare. People would like a good dream? All right. So this life may have a dreamlike, evanescent quality to it, and yet this is the life we're living. And let's make it the best we can. Right? So it's everything impermanent, everything's transient, everything is just unfolding. And there's lots of different meanings to this I won't go into. But it gives you, what's a dream? Is a dream real? No. So when we wake up in the morning, whether we've had good dreams or bad dreams, pleasant dreams, unpleasant dreams, meaningful dreams, just totally meaningless dreams, when we wake up in the morning, we realize it was just a dream and it doesn't exist now. Is that true? Yeah. So we just get up and go about our day. And if somebody says, "Gee, what'd you dream last night?" You say, "Well, I really had this wild dream. Yeah, I really had this scary dream, or I really had this happy dream." But we know it's a dream, don't we? And we get on with our life when we wake up. So when we wake up and we know that all experience is dreamlike, what does it mean? Do we hold on to anything from the past? Do we? I mean, I know we do, but should we? Because it's all gone. It's all dreamlike. It's not real. Your childhood is not real. It's just memories, feelings. Everything that's happened to you in life is gone. Is that true? I mean, I'm just asking factually. Is that true? It's interesting because we say it so blithely. Oh, I understand. Yeah, the past is gone, doesn't exist. Future hasn't come. All we have is the present moment. And then we spend our days ruminating about the past, worrying about the future, fantasizing, right? Can you see the disconnect between what we know to be true and yet we act as if we act without intelligence, let me put it that way. The past is really gone. Even what you did today is gone. It doesn't exist. Is that true? The future hasn't come. Is that true? All we know is what? This moment is my reality. And no matter what our past has been, which is just memories, and no matter what our future is, my freedom is that right now, how I live this moment, and the causes that I make in my life, in every moment, in every interaction, is creating the basis for either having a good life or a not so good life. So knowing the implication of this dreamlike life is very liberating. Don't be disappointed. It's very liberating. Wow. The past is gone. Why am I still ruminating about it? The future hasn't come. Why am I endlessly worrying and fantasizing? What a waste of energy. If I want a good life, I got to create it right now. Any questions? Yes. Just wait. Wait. We have to give you the mic because there are lots of people online and they can't hear you. Back in the back?
Hello. So my question is, how can we, well, I'm thinking about consequences. For example, like I'm here with walking, not in a wheelchair because I didn't, do something like get in a car accident by going too fast, one day, like
Okay.
there are other consequences of, the past, and because of that, I could, I have a good relationship with my dad, so I could talk to him. So how do you consider about, just the things in the past that affect the current moment?
Yeah, so good. So let me clarify. Yes, all the past are causes that we've made in life, causes and conditions, that are affecting our present moment, our life right now. You're absolutely right. So we are experiencing the effects of everything from the past, right? Is that clear? You're absolutely right. I mean, that's what's made us. That's what's made the world. Why is the world the way it is? Because of causes and conditions. Right now, the world is the way it is. Everything that's going on in the world is the way it is because of past causes and conditions that are manifesting in this, what's going on right now. So you're absolutely right. Now, this is the difference between being an awake person and an asleep person. When you understand that, what's your name?
My name is Marlon.
Marlon, when you understand that, you realize, oh, these thoughts are arising, these impulses are arising, these feelings are arising, these desires are all these afflictive stuff, they're arising because of what? Past causes and conditions. Okay. Now, we can either be an unconscious person who just is endlessly driven by their past conditioning, so it never changes, right? Okay. Or Marlon might become awake, conscious, aware, mindful of what's arising and go, yeah, I don't want to ruminate on that anymore. You see? This is where you change. It comes up because of the past causes and conditions. But if you're conscious, you can be aware of it and go, yeah, no, that's not good for me. So there's your freedom. In this moment, there's freedom, but you have to be aware. You have to be self-aware. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. Again, let's say you really have a terrible dream. You can wake up and you can feel what? What? It could affect you, couldn't it? You could feel what? Terrible. Right? But then you remind yourself it was just a dream. It's not real. The past affects us, but it doesn't have to control us. The problem is the past controls us. the world could chart all different kinds of courses for itself, couldn't it? But if people aren't conscious, they just endlessly, same old, right? Nurture the same resentments, the same hates, the same intolerances, right? So, being awake, being alive, being conscious, very important for change. Other questions or challenges? That's fine.
We have
And
two
online,
online.
Angie? Yes.
The first, in detaching from the past, how can I decouple from a deep regret that changed the lives of many people whom I love?
Yeah. So, yeah. Right? Anybody else have any regrets about things they've done or didn't do in their life? Anybody have any regrets? If you think about it, not that you dwell on it, but if you look back on your life, you go, that wasn't good. Or, ooh, I really hurt that person. Right? Yeah. So that just comes with the territory. Now, why did we do that? Whatever this person did to harm people she loved, did you do it with the conscious intention to bring harm to them? You get up one morning and say, I really want to hurt them badly. No. Drive all blames into one. Right? Yeah, at that moment in time, I didn't know better. I thought maybe what I was doing was right, or right for me, or I was only thinking of myself. Yeah, I was in a very selfish, self-centered place. I really wasn't thinking about the effects of my actions on others. Could that be true? Have we ever been in places like that? Yeah. I was just blind. I didn't see the effects of what I was doing could have on others. Yeah, I wasn't omniscient. I wasn't very wise. I wasn't very intelligent. I don't know. Maybe I was addicted. Maybe I was, all kinds of things. Right? Overwhelmed by fear, anger, all kinds of things. Is that clear? So we have to bring understanding and not blame. That's very important. We can acknowledge our shortcomings. Acknowledgement is not blame. Yeah, I can acknowledge, in the past, lots of times I didn't act skillfully. Right? Many people have done harm to themselves, things they've done in life. That's okay. It's not like it's okay, but that's the past, you see. So, I can acknowledge the past, and I can certainly have, remorse, which isn't blame. It's going, yeah, I feel bad that I hurt somebody. Okay? But today's a new day, right? How do I want to be today? And if it's possible to make amends to people we've hurt, yeah, if it's possible, make amends. They might not hear it. They may not want to, make amends with you, but that's okay. It's important in your heart that you know, I feel remorse for what I did or didn't do. And then do your best from now on not to do that again. Is that clear? That's the most important thing. Now that I know better, let me not do that again in this life. Okay? And the next one is what?
Sometimes I worry equanimity will lead to a boring life. Are we able to fully experience the highs and lows of life? Some of the best art was created at these extremes.
Yeah, well, we certainly know that bipolar illness is very much related to creativity. A lot of creative people are bipolar. That's true. A lot of creative people are somewhat on the manic side of things. That's true. But they suffer a lot too. Thich Nhat Hanh says we need to learn to dwell happily in the present moment. That's our challenge. That's the gift of practice. I can dwell happily in the present moment just as it is. I can deal with adversity. I can deal with annoying people. You know, we shouldn't be living life like we're drug addicts, always wanting to be high. If you've ever been addicted, or if you ever know any drug addicts, what's the problem with being addicted and always going for the highs? They don't last. And all of a sudden you do go what? You go down. And unless you get it, and you know what's going on, all you want to do is what? Get high again. And many people live life that way. They always got to keep themselves stimulated. They always got to keep having fun. They always got to have something to look forward to. Right? That's very normal. But under that is an underlying dissatisfaction with life. Isn't it? An inability to be happy and to create goodness in life as it is. And that's the gift that, that we want to give ourselves. We want to learn, right? So, yeah, always, again, people can do whatever they want, right? If the person who asked that question, really loves the highs and the lows and likes to feel all the extremities, and I'm not going to tell them to do anything different. It's up to each of us. But all I would say is there is another way. Equanimity isn't boring. See, we're so overstimulated in our culture. So stimulated. We think, it's like addiction, right? And one of the characteristics of being an addict is you can't believe you can live without your substance. Right? Talk to an addict about living without it, they'll go, no, boring. But we know that's not true. One can lead a very meaningful life by just being present to other people, present to reality, present to being alive, present to the earth, the flowers, the people, situation. It's all good, isn't it? Learning to dwell happily in the present moment. One of the things that's said in this tradition is, I don't need anything to be happy. Can you feel the freedom in that? As long as we think we need things to be happy, then we're very what? Needy. And we don't come into life and relationships in a healthy way. But to know I don't need anything to be happy. I know how to be happy in life. Then when you enter the world and enter relationships, it's from a healthy place. You see what I'm saying? There's no grasping, there's no neediness. There's no deficiency. We want to know the wholeness of ourselves, of our true mind, of our good heart. And that's really who we are. In Buddhism, we call that our Buddha nature, our true nature, our natural mind. That's actually what meditation is really about. Discovering, awakening to, mining that good mind. I think on that I'll end. Thank you very much for listening. So this is a little taste of these mind training Lojongs, in Tibetan, Lojong, or the mind trainings. I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find 3 billion references. I don't know. You know what I mean? There are a lot of books. I'm sure there are a ton of talks, but it's really good stuff. And I just scratched the surface. Thank you, everyone, for listening. For retreatants, we'll be having a lunch together now, so there won't be tea. Usually, for people who want to retreat, Usually we have tea afterwards and we can all talk with one another. But today, because we have a retreat and we're going to be having lunch downstairs, there won't be tea, but there will be tea online. Yeah, and if you enjoyed these slogans, practice with them. Try them out. I mean, that's what we do. We want to, oh, I never thought of it that way. That's an interesting way. Let me take that into my day. Can I be grateful to everyone? Can I be grateful to all circumstances? Can I be equanimous no matter what happens? Give yourself a little challenge. Thank you, everyone.